1960 Mid-Atlantic. Ooh. Oh my gosh, we're in a flight.
They told me.
I'm smoking
Son,
on a plane.
You're special.
This is the 60s.
BioShock is a game shrouded in mystery. On a first playthrough, you're given all these points of intrigue and endless questions, but it's left up to you to find the answers.
There's two ways to deal with a mystery. Uncover it, or eliminate it.
Things get started with a plane crash somewhere in the middle of the ocean. There's not much context given beyond that. Who are we? Why did we crash? Perhaps most bizarrely of all, why was this lighthouse conveniently here where we landed?
What is that? Okay, that is spooky, but it seems like our best bet.
The game gives you just enough to whet your curiosity, but refuses to ever hand you anything concrete. If you want answers, then you're gonna have to figure it out for yourself. So let's get to it.
This is like the best option, but I don't think this is a good option.
I think one of the beautiful parts of playing this as a newcomer is the way that finding answers tends to raise more questions in their place. Uncovering the world's secrets may bring you closer to the truth, but simultaneously it broadens your scope. Despite expanding your world, you also unveil how little you actually know. It's one of those games I always fantasize about wiping my memory clean of to go back and experience for the first time again. But alas, my time has come and gone. But hers hasn't. You can only experience a game for the first time once, but lucky for us, I've got the perfect gamer guinea pig.
The door's closed. No gods or kings, only man? What about a lady?
So this month, I approached my girlfriend with a very simple question. Would you kindly play BioShock?
He chose Rapture. Whoa, this is an underwater city.
The opening sequence of BioShock is iconic for a reason. Back in 2007, the grandiosity of that initial descent into the city was a lot to take in, and that remains the same today for our leading lady. Her first glimpse of the city is a neon attack on the senses as she takes in the architectural marvel of this would-be Atlantis.
This is so cool. There's a whale just swimming through the city. Surprise, game a chance. Hey Nick, you would like that.
It's almost as if the city forged from dreams is calling out to her. Welcome to Rapture.
Whoa. Oh, it's like a coffee ad.
After such an elegant entrance to this underwater utopia, the illusion of splendor is almost immediately shattered by her first interaction with one of Rapture's, can we call them an upstanding citizen?
Oh my god!
Her first steps into Rapture are a mix of alarm, along with some morbid curiosity. On the one hand, she wants to get back on the sub, but on the other, she's intrigued by what she just stumbled upon.
Nope. Nope. I'm not here. Oh my god, it's climbing up! Oh shit!
That intrigue only widens with the introduction of a new friend in Atlas.
Would you kindly pick up that shortwave radio?
Atlas is the first friendly voice she's found down here, and he seems to have a plan to help her survive.
I'm Atlas, and I aim to keep you alive.
Thanks, Atlas, I'm Tarny.
Since she's abruptly landed in this hostile environment, Atlas earns some brownie points for being the first friend in a strange new city.
I have to trust Atlas, I just met Atlas.
At the very least, it's enough for her to put her faith into his walkie-talkie for the time being. Not to mention, following his kind instructions seems to be the first good idea she's had so far.
So what the hell's going on with the citizens of Rapture?
After walking around and getting her sea legs sorted out, she starts to pick up on some things about the city.
Departure canceled? Oh no.
Namely, that something bad happened here because the place is an absolute wreck, and the people have all kinds of lost it.
Oh man! That robot is destroying the creature!
She stumbles upon a monkey wrench and uses it to fend off the bad guys, but it's far from the ideal tool for the job. The enemies she's dealing with are splicers, denizens of the underwater city who are addicted to some kind of drug called Adam.
Hi! He sprinted at me!
At the end of the hall is a serum of sorts, and despite the substance abuse problem going around, she didn't question pricking herself with the strange needle.
I have a tattoo of chains. Why did I just stab myself with that?
Steady now.
Whoa!
Code is being rewritten. Just hold on.
Oh my my god, I'm wielding lightning.
The good news is that by taking that serum, she'll unlock something much more useful than that wrench.
Oh my god, I wield electricity. Ah!
This gives her her first plasmid, which is BioShock's name for superpowers. This first one is the Electro Bolt, and as the name suggests, gives her the power to strike things with lightning.
I feel like, I hope the electricity doesn't work against me because I'm underwater, but I feel like that'll be good against wet things.
Which is cool on its own, but it's also super useful since the game takes place entirely under the sea.
Nice. Oh. Oh my god! 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 The plane!
Equipped with some new tools to take down the splicers, she's ready to tackle the city proper.
I know you must feel like the unluckiest man in the world right now, but you're the only hope I'll ever see my wife and child again.
Atlas, I got you. I'm gonna go to Neptune's bounty.
Atlas needs her help to get reunited with his wife and child, and since my girlfriend doesn't have a flight to catch, she figures she may as well lend a hand.
Oh, I ate some potato chips. Oh, I just smoked some cigarettes. I love that it's the 60s, so they worked smoking into the game. Ah!
One of my favorite things about BioShock has got to be its environmental storytelling. While my girlfriend's grappling with her own story of surviving a plane crash and helping Atlas, the world will tell her its story if she's willing to listen.
What keeps happening? We are underwater. I do not like the sound of glass breaking.
There are countless hints she can glean just from taking in her surroundings. Rapture used to be a thriving, bustling place, filled with all kinds of people, but beneath it all, something dark was brewing.
There was literally a gun in this baby carriage.
Seeing the aftermath and what's left is sort of the answer to the question. The city fell to ruin, but much like her plane crash, she wants to know how.
That's wild.
One of the first areas she'll stumble upon on her journey is the Kashmir restaurant.
Rapture Masquerade Ball.
Just walking into the restaurant, you can look around the room and piece together a lot of what happened here.
Happy New Year in 1959. Oh no.
There was clearly some kind of party going on for New Year's Eve, and the theme was masquerade. That explains why the splicer she saw earlier was wearing a mask, but she's still got a lot of questions. She'll just have to keep going if she wants to know more.
So this seems to have happened during the New Year's party, because so many of the splicers are wearing masks.
As far as the hazards in front of her go, the environment is equally important in taking out enemies. She pieced together how her electroplasmid interacted with water almost as soon as she had obtained it. But this is the first opportunity to test it out. She can zap the water and take out all the ankle-deep splicers in one fell swoop.
So good.
It's also useful for stunning enemies, short-circuiting turrets, and opening doors. So it's a good one to get well acquainted with, and it quickly became her bread and butter plasmid. Past the restaurant is the Footlight Theater, and in it my girlfriend gets a front row seat to some of the other inhabitants of Rapture. She's already gotten quite familiar with the splicers, but she definitely wasn't expecting what she encountered next.
Would you kindly lower that weapon for a minute?
Wait, I was trying to go back through there. I wanted to go down the stairs. Okay.
You think that's a child down there? Don't be fooled. She's a little sister now.
Uh-oh.
Somebody went and turned a sweet baby girl into a monster.
Oh no!
Whatever you thought about right and wrong on the surface, well, that don't count for much down in Rapture.
On this stage, she finds her first little sister. These young girls have been genetically modified and are tasked with harvesting leftover atom from dead splicers. The little sisters are usually filled with valuable resources since they're the collectors, but going after them comes with a risk. Where there's a little sister, there's always a big daddy.
What the hell? Are they fighting each other? Oh, damn! What the hell? That thing is drilling that guy.
That's the big daddy. She has Adam. He keeps her safe.
So they work together? Oh, that's terrifying.
The big daddies are the most dangerous of the hazards she'll run into. They're less aggressive than the splicers, but if you get too close to their little sister, it won't take long to learn that they hurt. Their main purpose is to act as an obstacle between my girlfriend and the loot-filled little sisters. But more on that in a moment. It's here that she gets a message from the big man himself, and the creator of Rapture, Andrew Ryan.
What the hell's this?
So tell me, friend,
Which one of the bitches said to you?
Whoa.
He warns her that Rapture isn't some sunken ship for her to plunder. His tone alone tells her all she needs to know. This guy is definitely trouble.
Spooky. So he wants to know which agency I'm part of. They can't get in here, right?
And now, she's met her main villain for the game.
Woo.
Progressing forwards, our leading lady finds herself navigating the medical pavilion. This isn't her goal, but more of a detour on her way to Neptune's bounty, which is apparently where Atlas's family is.
This is so cool.
Unfortunately, the key to Neptune's bounty is held by Dr. Steinman, a mad surgeon who's in charge of the facility. She's on a bit of a goose chase here, trying to track him down, and it doesn't help the place has little sisters and big daddies as well.
Oh god. I died.
Speaking of little sisters, word on the street is there are a ton of little tarnies looking for a new home. We've partnered with U2s to launch our brand new Boy Meets Girl plushie. The campaign will be running for the next 2 weeks, and if you're watching this video, that means she's already available. Yes, Taryn has finally accomplished her dream of becoming a doll. And that means she can now hang out with you in person. But good luck making her play games for you. That took me 6 years. Someone needs to protect these little sisters, and I can't do it all on my own. You'll find a link in the description down below so that you can get your very own Tarny plush. While you're down there, would you kindly leave us a like and subscribe? It makes girls super bubbly. Now, where was she? Steinman used to be a prestigious cosmetic surgeon on the surface, and Ryan invited him to Rapture with the promise of revolutionizing his craft.
So there's something going on with this doctor. She just freaking blew up.
With the use of Adam, he could transform his patients in ways he could only dream of on land. Unfortunately, Steinman took his craft a little too far and started thinking himself as more of an artist than a surgeon.
What can I do with this one, Aphrodite? She won't stay still.
Oh god.
I want to make them beautiful, but they always turn out wrong.
Steinman is the first major boss fight, and a good way to test some of the plasmids she found in the level. Zapping him while he's standing in water is an effective strategy, but Girl has a shotgun and knows how to use it.
Yay! I killed the crazy doctor.
With the good doctor down and out, she can proceed forwards and get a closer look at the little sisters. Atlas encourages my girlfriend to harvest them for their Adam, since they're just monsters to him. But after talking to Tenenbaum, my girlfriend opted for another approach.
Oh jeez.
Use this. Free them from the torment. I will make it to be worth your while. Somehow.
Sure.
Tenenbaum is allegedly the one who created the sisters and offers a serum that gives her the option to save them.
I'm definitely gonna rescue. It's okay, honey. It's okay. You're okay, baby. Aww. Hi!
Thank you, mister.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
She just curtsied.
The little sisters didn't seem evil. They don't even try to attack her. They just run away in fear.
Aww. She's crawling away.
So with no Big Daddy around, instead of harvesting them for Adam, she opted to rescue them instead.
It's okay, honey. It's okay. It's okay. Yay!
Little one, but are you really a friend to us?
Now that she's through the pavilion, she can safely enter Neptune's bounty. The place is in pretty bad shape, but all she needs to do is grab Atlas's family and get out as quick as she can.
What the hell?
Now you had the pleasure of Andrew Ryan's company.
This is also where she can learn a little more about what was going on here.
91 days since our last accident. Oh no.
The key point of interest being a place called Fontaine Fisheries, owned by a guy named Frank Fontaine.
Make cracking crabs, Fontaine fisheries. Why is this fish flopping?
Fontaine was a sort of rival industrialist to Andrew Ryan, and sought to take advantage of his underwater city to make some serious coin. When Ryan grew paranoid of the world's diplomats and governments, he closed the city off from them. Fontaine Fisheries was set up by Frank as a front for a smuggling business.
It's Fontaine fisheries, okay.
Neptune's bounty is the level that introduces a new tool in the form of the research camera. The camera isn't a weapon per se, but it's actually a powerful tool in doing more damage. By taking pictures of things, you unlock weak points on targets, which result in you dealing more damage when you attack them.
I need to take a picture. This was a highest grade picture. I just went around the corner of a bathroom. increased damage? Hell yeah.
BioShock has a couple of mechanics like this that kind of break the flow of things. The pipe hacking minigame is another that comes to mind. Basically, you'll find yourself breaking the heat of the action a lot to solve a puzzle or take a picture.
Oh, this one was stressful. Oh.
The main reason I bother even bringing this up is that one boy's grievance is another girl's treasure. My girlfriend loved taking pictures of stuff.
I keep taking pictures as they're shooting at me.
We got to talking about whether it bothered her when it broke her flow, and she explained to me she didn't really have a flow in the first place to break. She handles encounters clunkily with or without a camera.
What just happened?
So to her, it was just fun things she could do while she was caught up in the fray of combat. She really loved the pipe minigame for that same reason too.
Oh, wait a second. It can put me all the way down, but the safes will not kill me. The safes are safe! Oh my god!
Anyways, now that she's finished her photo op with the bad guys and progressed further into Neptune's bounty, it's high time we help out our buddy Atlas and find his family.
Oh god, what the hell's going on?
Just when it seemed like salvation was in reach though, the facility blew a fuse.
Whoa, what the hell? Oh god!
They're everywhere. I can't hold them. They're to fall back. Get me family out, and we'll regroup as soon as we can.
Cat.
And while she scrambled to find a backup plan, Ryan dealt her a devastating blow.
No! Fuck! Fuck! Alice's family!
You ooze in like an assassin, and then you try to sneak out like a thief. You're no CIA.
What the
Who
hell?
are you? Why have you come here?
Oh,
There's 2 ways to deal with a mystery.
oh
Uncover it,
poor
or
Atlas.
eliminate it.
With the death of Atlas's family, revenge has become the new plan.
Out and get to Arcadia. Jesus Christ.
Fucking Ryan. Oh my god.
Her next instructions from Atlas are to head to Arcadia.
That'll take you straight to the devil himself. And then all debts will be paid in full.
Whose debts? I don't owe anybody anything. I just literally crashed here on an airplane. I've just been helping you out.
Arcadia is arguably the most beautiful part of the game, and that opinion of mine stems from the lush greenery found in it. This is where the citizens of Rapture get their breathable air, and the location serves as the heart of the city above.
Ooh, oh my gosh, look at the trees. That is so cool.
Unfortunately, just as she was taking it all in, Andrew Ryan releases some kind of pesticide to kill all the trees and essentially choke her out.
What the hell?
I'm gonna need you to listen to me. I'm no sort of botanist, but I think Ryan has just killed Arcadia.
Shit.
Put something foul into the air. Bottom of the ocean, Bio.
Oh
All the
god.
oxygen comes from the trees. No trees, no oxygen.
No trees, no oxygen.
She and Atlas need to come up with a plan fast before all the trees in the greenhouse die. The good news is that plan finds her.
My trees. It wasn't you.
Nope, it was not me.
She meets a scientist named Julie who is in charge of the Arboretum and claims she can make a cure if my girlfriend's able to find her a sample from some roses in the grotto.
Oh, I know where the roses are in the grotto. So I'm not coming in there yet. Yep. Good thing I explored this because now I know exactly where to go.
Since Atlas couldn't come up with a better idea, my girlfriend decided to go along with Julie's instead.
Yay!
Speaking of Atlas, there are posters plastered up all around here that say, "Who is Atlas?" Honestly, my girlfriend's been asking this question since she picked up the walkie, so thank God we're finally addressing it.
Who was Atlas? Wait, that's literally the question I was asking. Who is Atlas?
With a little extra digging here, she can glean that he was some kind of revolutionary that inspired the working class to stand up to the rich elites. This movement was what led to the Civil War that started on New Year's Eve, which she learned about back in that restaurant.
There's some kind of like Atlas conspiracy theory? Because I was just asking about Atlas because he was talking to me on the walkie and asking me to do a bunch of stuff. But again, I will reiterate, I'm not even supposed to be here.
Anyways, she managed to find the roses and grab her sample, so let's get back to the research lab.
She's like, those guys, they're stealing everything. I'm like, don't mind if I do.
Just when things seem like they're going to work out for once, Ryan gets the last laugh.
Oh no. Oh no. No! Julia! Shit, I need her. She has the password. And she's not insane.
The only saving grace is that Julie thinks quick on her feet and leaves my girlfriend the key to saving the trees on the fogged up glass. Let's just hope she can decipher her dying message.
So probably like 7, 5, 4, P?
Oh no, we're all doomed.
What?
Just kidding. Girl's got a good head on her shoulders.
Oh, I see. 9, 4, 5, 7.
The key in the save gives her access to the market, where she'll be able to find all the ingredients to make the serum to resurrect the trees. So in true farmer's market fashion, Girl's doing some shopping.
Is this spilled honey? The bees are happy.
One of the key components that's needed to create the serum is an enzyme from the bees.
Oh damn, the bees are attacking me. The bees are not happy. Ah!
After pacifying the bees, she's able to grab the enzyme as well as the other ingredients and make the serum.
Would you kindly get this thing crafted already? Air's only getting thinner down here.
He's like, stop looting and go craft the damn thing. I'm like, but I'm having fun.
With it, she can bring Arcadia back from the dead.
Okay, I did it.
Well done, lad.
Look at that. Look at me go.
Enjoy it. Then head over to Rolling Hills and get the bathysphere.
Oh.
Next up is Ryan's house.
Hopefully having oxygen will make the bees happy again.
Hey, I saved the trees.
With that crisis averted, the path forward opens up. Her main goal is to get to Ryan so she can get revenge for all the people he's killed. And to do that, she needs to get to Hephaestus. Unfortunately, this guy named Sander Cohen locks things down.
What?
So she'll have to venture into Fort Frolic for a small intermission.
Okay, that was a lot. So now let's do the fortune teller.
Sweethearts, maybe you should ask somebody else for advice.
Fuck off, Epstein. Let's go gamble.
Cohen is a bit of an eccentric, and tasks my girlfriend with helping him with his masterpiece.
Okay. Well, I'll see you later, I guess.
What that amounts to is my girlfriend running around taking a bunch of pictures for him. This all comes to a head with what my girlfriend described as shotgun ballet, and she's rewarded with a new crossbow.
I freaking love this song. I am the ballerina with the shotgun, damn it.
I'm sorry for that outburst.
With his masterpiece completed, Cohen is happy to let her leave and continue her mission.
What an entrance!
Technically, my girlfriend can kill him, but the thought never even crossed her mind. So I guess he's still down there doing his thing to this very day.
Okie dokie. Eee.
With that errand out of the way, she can finally talk to Atlas again, and the way to Hephaestus is wide open. Andrew Ryan has a genetic key that we can use to gain control of all of Rapture. With it, we should finally be able to escape this hamster maze and get out of here. But she had a feeling he wouldn't just hand it over nicely.
Uh-oh. What did he call in?
Come now, my child. There is one final thing to discuss.
It seems like ages ago that he was taunting her after she entered the city, and now she's finally able to come face to face with the man himself. She's got a lot of questions, and hopefully this is where she can finally get some answers.
Would you kindly... What?
The biggest question of all, though, is whether or not she'll even be able to get him to talk. But sometimes, neither a man nor a slave is good enough for the job. Sometimes, we just need a lady who can get stuff done.
Oh my god, there he is! There's Ryan!
Murder me.
He's playing
In the
freaking
end,
golf!
What separates a man from a slave?
What?
Money? Power? No. A man chooses. A slave obeys. You think you have memories. A farm. A family.
What?
An airplane.
Did you crash a plane to fake me out?
And then this place. Was there really a family? Did that airplane crash? Or was it hijacked?
Did you force my
Forced down.
airplane to go down?
Forced down by something less than a man. Something bred to sleepwalk through life until they are activated by a simple phrase spoken by their kind.
Am I a sleeper agent?
Was a man sent to kill? Or a slave?
He loves
A
his
man
mind games.
chooses. A slave obeys. Stop, would you kindly?
Would you kindly?
Would you kindly? Powerful phrase. Familiar phrase.
Would you kindly? Would you kindly get this? Would you kindly find that? Would you kindly find that? Would you kindly find it? Would you kindly get this? head to Ryan's office and kill the son of a bitch.
Would you kindly?
Sit, would you kindly?
What?
Stand,
That's my code word?
would you kindly? Run,
What?
turn. A man chooses. A slave obeys. Kill!
Has Atlas been saying, would you kindly? I whacked him!
A man chooses.
What? Whoa! I'm whacking him!
A slave obeys.
What the hell? I'm whacking him with a 5-iron.
Obey!
The twist, or better put the shock behind BioShock, is revealed after killing Andrew Ryan.
I am so confused. He does say it.
But before we unpack that revelation, would you kindly place the key in the control panel?
What?
Nice work,
Atlas, are you an asshole? Uh-oh, he's real bad. Oh, that's evil laughter. Oh my god, I'm trapped. Oh shit. He did say, would you kindly? Okay, I was wondering where Frank Fontaine was. And if Alice's last name was Fontaine.
So as it turns out, the plane crash she was on wasn't an accident at all. In fact, nothing that she's done so far was. Atlas has been pulling the strings this whole time. In fact, Atlas isn't even Atlas at all. He's Fontaine.
So he has been sitting this whole fucking time. Oh my god, he's bald now. Oh shit. I think we gotta go stop Frank.
To make matters worse, now that he's done with you, he intends to leave you for dead while the city crumbles. But luckily, somebody's got her back.
Come with me.
Hi. Oh my god, the little sister's helping me. She's helping me. She says, come on, mister. Thank you, little sister. Oh my god, the little sisters are helping me. I'm coming along, little lady. Oh my god. Oh, I fell. What a twist. Ryan was still a douche, but he wasn't like the bad guy. Atlas was actually Fontaine, and he was the real bad guy.
Thanks to Tenenbaum and the Little Sisters, she's able to escape the control room and find refuge in their orphanage.
Atlas was really Fontaine, and he kept slipping in would you kindly into every freaking sentence, and I was actually brainwashed, and that was my code word. I was like a sleeper agent. But because I saved so many little sisters, they came and saved me. And so then I was crawling, and now I'm at Tenenbaum's like orphanage for the little sisters. And you see this is like a little sister door down below there, and then I get to go through the big sister door. But like they're running around and they're playing like hopscotch, and they're so cute. And I think I saved all of these ones, and I'm so happy about this. They're having a tea party.
So to fill in some of the gaps in the story for you all, my girlfriend is not just here by coincidence. She's not a random plane crash survivor. She's actually playing as Andrew Ryan's illegitimate son. Or, I guess, daughter.
Ryan's flesh and blood. Why'd I go to the trouble? Otherwise, you'd have been cut in two by the first security bot you crossed paths with. But not Ryan. He made it so his security would recognize his genetic structure.
Did I just miss that they like made my DNA based off of Ryan?
Anyways, the reason she was able to activate the genetic key was because she shared the same DNA as Andrew Ryan. And Frank Fontaine took advantage of her to get what he wanted.
Hell, I was there when you were born.
This entire game, all of her actions haven't actually been her own. They've been Atlas, calling the shots from step one.
Would you kindly? Would you kindly get this? Would you kindly find that? Would you kindly find that? Would you kindly man's office and kill the son of a bitch.
She's essentially just a sleeper agent whose trigger phrase was, "Would you kindly?"
Go get stepped on by a big daddy. Would you kindly?
Nope. I refuse.
Thankfully, Tenenbaum has been able to undo some of my girlfriend's brainwashing to free her from Fontaine's control, but unfortunately she couldn't get rid of all of it.
What? Oh my god, he just lowered my health!
So the first goal in the game that actually belongs to our leading lady is to get rid of what's left of her brainwashing so she can get revenge on the true villain of the story, Frank Fontaine.
I'm like, these looters are so bad as I just loot everything. To be fair, I'm not killing people to loot them. They attack me, I self-defense, and then they give me stuff.
The serum she's after is called Lot 192.
Ooh.
And there are 2 doses she needs to consume.
Should have known you would need a larger dosage. You'll have to locate another dosage.
Uh-oh.
Remove the effect.
So I have 192, but I need to get more 192.
The first dose has the side effect of causing her plasmids to go all haywire. They're switching between each other out of her control, and it's more or less a time to use what you get.
So 192 is like making my plasmids all wonky, except it's like using plasmids that I didn't even knew existed because I didn't have them. I feel like most people probably have all of them.
The irony being that my girlfriend didn't have all her powers unlocked yet, so she was cycling through max level 1 she'd never even seen before.
I don't even think I had Winter Blast in the first place.
Rather than be annoyed by it, she switched to being excited to see what the roulette wheel was going to land on next.
So I'm kind of confused as to what this one is because I don't think I like... Oh, that's so good, just to hit them if they're frozen.
In games, my girlfriend doesn't usually experiment with new things once she finds something that works. So she's been running the same 3 plasmids for most of the story. Things running haywire turned out to be a blessing in disguise because when the dust had finally settled and her plasmids were back to functioning as usual, she went straight to the shop to nab up all her new favorites she'd discovered.
I feel like I want to get Freezy again because Freezy was fun. Ooh, yes. Nice. So now I can pair Freezy with Wacky. Whack, whack, whack. Yeah, I like this combo. This is like a just build ammo kind of combo.
Speaking of Fontaine, he's still mucking about and messing with her. He still has some control, so he's doing rude things like lowering her maximal health and whatnot. The second dose of the antidote does away with all this nonsense and their side effects.
There it is. Is that fixing it? Is that fixing it?
Now you are having freedom.
Nice!
Fully cured, she's finally free, and Frank is about to see how dangerous free will can be.
Yep.
But
sorry, Fontaine.
It's not like you never been double-crossed before.
So what I'm hearing is that he's freaking out because I'm probably getting too close.
So as you know, she was already saving the little sisters.
I love their little sister door.
But after the betrayal, she went full dad mode. And this next part is quite fitting for that. My girlfriend becomes a big daddy, or as she preferred, a big sister.
I'm a big sister, not a big daddy. So the game better respect that.
This section of the game is all about escorting the little sisters around.
Stay away from my little sister.
For most of the game, she's seen the big daddies as adversaries, but here she gets to walk a mile in their shoes.
Okay, I'm protecting the little sisters. Let's do this, ladies. We're going in!
The daddies are more than well equipped to dish pain, as she's experienced firsthand numerous times throughout her adventure. But more importantly, she's escorting precious cargo.
Leave her alone! You okay, honey?
Don't be a slowpoke, Mr. B.
Don't be a slowpoke. Okay. We're moving on.
There's no penalty for losing a little sister in this section. You can just resummon them from the vents if yours dies. But good luck telling her that.
Oh my god! I look away for a second and they get into trouble. She just walked straight up to a turret.
If she lost her little sister, she refused to keep going and would opt to reload and try again. This led to a lot of frustration because the sweethearts had a knack for waltzing right in front of the turrets.
Little sister, where did you go? Oh my god, why are you that way? Why do the little sisters insist on running in front of turrets?
Either way, she knows better than anyone else that the most important quality in a big sister is patience.
Wait. And I need to like loot everything, little lady. So you hold your horses.
And eventually she got her companion through safely.
I was whacking this guy with my wrench with the help of my robot friends. Yeah. 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 Nice! I just took out an elite bouncer with my freezing wrench. Oh yeah, you like that, Jack?
At the end of the hall, right before the doors to Fontaine's lair, the sisters gift her one of their syringes for her final showdown with Frank. She'll need this tool in their final battle because she needs to extract his atom in order to defeat him.
Oh, here you are. Thank you! See you later, little sister. Thank you for your help.
With all the battle preparations out of the way, it's finally time to face off with this con man and prove once and for all that while a man chooses and a slave obeys, a girlfriend refuses.
Betrayal, kid.
You betrayed me first.
Strictly business.
Uh-oh. Oh, man. Oh, I'm getting the... Oh, he did not like that. He's charging me. He is not happy that I'm ruining his plan. Thanks, little sister! She's like, get him, Mr. B! Oh, so now he's like icy. Oh, I bet I can fire him. Oh, I bet I can hack this. Nice, I can hack mid-fight. Let's do this, baby. Yeah, the fire's really good while he's in his ice form. That's awesome. Nice.
Catch my breath.
Unzip him, Mr. B! Unzip him! Thanks, little sis. He's electric-y. Maybe the bees? Maybe the bees? Go, bees, go! The little sisters are like my favorite thing ever. Bye, Mr. Fontaine! Yo! Oh shit, he just punched me. Oh my god. Is there more? Look at the little sisters! They're all jumping! They're all jumping! Go, little sisters, go! Come on! You got this, little sisters. Don't hurt my little sisters. Yeah, look at them go! They're like tackling him and they're stabbing him. Go, little sisters, go! Unzip him! Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
With Fontaine gone, her life is finally her own, and it's up to her to decide what she does with it.
Hi, little sisters!
They offered you this city.
It's okay, honey. It's okay. I'm gonna get on your level.
And you refused it. And what did you do instead?
Are we all going home? Are we saving the little sisters?
What I've come to expect of you. You saved them.
I brought them with me!
You gave them the one thing that was stolen from them.
Oh! A family!
A chance to learn.
Did I send them all to school?
To find love.
Oh, these are like their futures.
To live.
Oh!
And in the end, what was your reward? You never said.
All of my daughters are here from the little sisters!
A family.
That's so sweet!
I'll never forget the first time I saw that ending. Seeing it again for the first time in years with her taking the wheel was somehow even more memorable than the first.
I'm so glad that saving the little sisters made such a happy ending. We literally all like hopped into that sub and got out of there. That makes me so happy. Oh, that was the kind of ending I needed.
That's the story of BioShock, one of the coolest games out there.
I loved this game.
I want to extend a humongous thank you to our wonderful channel members and patrons who help make videos like this possible. They were responsible for voting on BioShock for this month. We've been having an absolute blast with them during our community events, and if you're on the fence about joining, I can't think of a nicer group of people who'd be excited to welcome you aboard. Extra special thanks goes out to our sixth wheelers: Daniel Rogers, Gizmo, Isaac Vogan, David Webb, Mace, Albino the Infernape, Gray is Sleepy, Taco Supreme, Parav Skittles, Sam Komodo Dragon, Shaneboy 1888, and Cerberus. If you're hungry for more boy and girl content, then head on over to our Twitch, where we stream our shenanigans 3 times a week. That's all I got for you for now. Don't forget to nab a Tarny plushie. Otherwise, we'll see you in the next one.
I became the biggest daddy of them all.